The work of the laboratories has no end. Solving one problem means time and opportunity to tackle the next. The research section is investigating diseases from influenza to cancer. It is slow work because it must be sure. Lives depend on these eyes and brains, the skill of these fingers, the observations made, the deductions drawn. Check and cross-check. There must be no possibility of final error in work where a mistake can mean death.
I think imagination and creativity are really the key ingredients in a great scientist.
The ability of one to look at a problem and see not what it is, but what it could be, what opportunities are out there.
Imagination is absolutely critical and necessary, but not sufficient for doing great science.
Being able to see the gaps in knowledge, but also being able to understand which of those gaps is capable of being filled.
It has to be combined with great discipline and intellectual rigour and being extraordinarily strong and persevering.
Today within CSL, R&D is a truly global pursuit. $500 million are invested annually into the research of 1,100 scientists. Each project begins with an unmet medical need, or in layman's terms, a patient who is suffering.
It helps us initiate our projects, and I guess it sustains us through the many years it takes to really understand the disease process, think about how you might develop a drug, discover and develop that drug, get it through the clinical trial process and get it onto market.
Central to the mission are symbiotic relationships with universities, hospitals, and research institutes. To this end, CSL is a valued member of world-renowned medical precincts in Melbourne and Boston.
So there's only so much that you can do within a company. We look outside all the time for other ideas that are out there. And thus being in this Cambridge area allows you to make those connections. MIT is right down the block, Harvard's down the block the other direction. You have the academics meeting with the folks in industry and coming up with new and interesting ideas.
The headquarters of the company is in Parkville, has been for 100 years, and it's just a wonderful thing to be at the heart of one of the great hubs of academic medical research in the world. And our intention is to be the industry partner of choice for people in that precinct.
Certainly in the Australian context, CSL really is a unique organisation. It's one of the few organisations that has the capital and the know-how to take a discovery from the bench through to clinical trial in humans.
I was surfing North Bondi and just paddling out, I just suddenly felt that I was really wonky. I just suddenly felt a really violent hit right in the solar plexus, right there, bang. And it just kept going bang, bang. And I thought, I'm having a heart attack.
You pull up to the hospital and you hear this thundering sound, and that's the sound often of the helicopter landing right on the building above you. You know the patient in that helicopter is your patient coming straight from that helicopter, straight onto the table where you're going to try and get their artery open.
These aren't angels, they're nurses, so I'm alive. So I knew I'd obviously made it through it.
You just dodged a bullet. Your heart is injured. It's not pumping as well. You still face an 8 to 10% risk of having a second heart attack.
When I had my second event, I was doing the same thing. I was out surfing again and feeling good.
Your heart's pumping ability goes way down with that second heart attack.
I was doing all the right things not to have had one. The third one I know nothing about. My heart just stopped.
What CSL 112 is designed to do is to treat those patients subsequent to their first cardiovascular event and prevent them from having that follow-on event.
To date, what we've tried to do is focus on the bad cholesterol. This is the first time we're giving real, human, good cholesterol to people to see if we can reverse heart disease, and that's why it's so exciting.
It'll be another huge product out of plasma. It'll be a product that we hopefully can purify from every litre of plasma that we collect, and that's really important to the economics of the business.
Today, we would discard the material that is the basic material that goes into creating CSL 112. Instead of doing that, we would create a multi-billion-dollar product.
We've enrolled over 1,000 patients in a phase 2 study to look at the tolerability and safety of infusing the drug.
We will be, of course, looking at the data coming out of that study and making plans for doing phase 3 in that project, which would be the biggest R&D undertaking we've ever contemplated. There's risk in every aspect of R&D.
All the things that we do that succeed, there's many more that fail.
There's always risks, but I think you have to believe.
When something doesn't work, you try to figure out why it didn't work, and then you go on and make it again and make it better. That's a normal process for a scientist every day.
But it's not just R&D that's fueling CSL's growth. Swelling middle classes throughout the developing world are creating a demand for biotherapies, and CSL is expanding its commercial presence in these regions.
Brian and the team put together a phenomenal portfolio of science and projects from an R&D perspective, but now it's time to really take it to the next level in terms of commercial expanse, geographic dispersion, awareness and diagnosis of disease, the education that has to go on in the marketplaces. What we're doing is really saving and extending the lives of patients around the world that would not have access to these therapies if we weren't here.
China got the dream by 2020. They want to be a middle social class country. That means more than 70% of the Chinese population will be middle social class. With the economic growth, as well as the education level keep going up, with the information technology, the patient awareness of the disease, the patient awareness of the treatment has been raised a lot. So the biotherapies or the pharmaceutical market has been growing significantly.
To supply this burgeoning demand, an enormous investment is being made in infrastructure. Major projects in Kankakee, Bern, Broadmeadows and Lengnau are boosting manufacturing capacity, while new plasma collection centres are opening in North America and Europe. And to provide continuity and stability through this massive expansion, the best and brightest people are being developed to realise their potential as leaders.
I originally joined CSL on a 3-month contract, sitting on the flu manufacturing line, pressing the button so that we didn't harvest the green egg. There was another short-term contract open up, so I went over to one of the labs and started washing bottles. Because I was in the lab, I became very interested in the lab work. My boss at the time said, if you really like this and you want to make a career of it, you really need to go back to university. So with CSL's support, I embarked on a university degree. That took me 9 years. I was the first of our family to finish a degree. So my current role is the Head of Global Commercial Development. We have people here in Marburg, we have people in Bern, as well as the team based in the King of Prussia office. I love the long hours, I even love the glamorous travel. CSL is an exciting place and it's continuing to grow, and I just don't know what tomorrow might bring.
We have a desire to deliver the fruits, say, of biotechnology to many more people around the world, not just wealthy people in first world countries. And at the same time, there are strong trends to personalised medicines. better using genetic information in both broad public health and individual patient health, I think, will be a theme for the next 50 years.
As CSL sets course for a second century, it does so with a reputation for world-class production, enviable financial strength, and a pipeline of life-saving and life-enhancing new therapies. Reflecting on 100 years of survival, healing, and heroics, one can marvel at the ability of this organization to become the visions articulated by its leaders. Firstly, as a government agency, tasked with defense of the nation's health, and then as a private enterprise, challenged to earn a place in the ruthless global market. On the production line, in the lab, and in the boardroom, CSL is driven by an irrepressible curiosity and a defiant determination to alleviate suffering. It is the promise to save and protect life that connects the generations and enables the integration of new organizations as it transcends language, culture, and currency. Indeed, it is at the very essence of what it is to be human. CSL's staff are custodians of an epic legacy, and it's now their time to write their own history, contributing meaningfully and memorably to this great, unfolding story.